Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. Imagine this. The sun is just rising on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. Millions of hearts are beating with the same rhythm, the rhythm of sacrifice. Not just the sacrifice of an animal, but the sacrifice of our ego, our desires, our bad habits. Yet here we are in a time where some are busy taking pictures for Instagram, arguing over the size of the goat, or even forgetting why Ibrahim alayhi salam picked up that knife in the first place. Today, we're not just going to celebrate Adha, we're going to understand it. What's right? What's wrong? And most importantly, what matters most to Allah. Because my brothers and sisters, Eid is not about the meat on your plate. It's about the heart in your chest. It's about whether your actions are truly for Allah or just for show. Now, before we go deeper, I want you to do one thing right now. Pause this video and comment below with one thing you are personally sacrificing this Eid for the sake of Allah. Be honest, be sincere. Whether it's your anger, your phone addiction, your pride, or even your sleep for tahajjud, type it in the comments. Let this become a beautiful chain of reminders for all of us. I'm waiting to read your comments, and I will make dua for every single one of you who participates. Let's begin. Bismillah. 1. Eid is about submission, not celebration. My brothers and sisters, the essence of Eid al-Adha is submission. Look carefully at the story of Prophet Ibrahim. Allah tested him with something unimaginable. Not money, not business, not health problems. Allah tested him with the one thing he loved deeply, his own son. Think about this for a moment. This was not just any child. This was the child he waited years for. The child he loved. The child who brought happiness to his heart after so much waiting and patience. And then came the test. Most of us cannot even sacrifice small bad habits for the sake of Allah. Yet Ibrahim was willing to sacrifice what was most beloved to him because Allah commanded it. That is the level of trust true believers had. And notice something powerful. He did not scream, complain, or say, "Why me?" He understood something many people today have forgotten. If Allah asks something from you, there is wisdom in it, even when you do not fully understand it. Today we claim we love Allah, but our actions often say something different. Allah says pray 5 times a day, but we treat salah like an optional task. Allah says stay away from haram relationships, but people say everyone is doing it. Allah says control your tongue, but gossip has become entertainment. Allah says lower your gaze, but many spend hours consuming filth online without guilt. Allah says be honest, but lying has become normal in business, friendships, and even family matters. Then we wonder why our hearts feel empty. My brothers and sisters, Islam was never about obeying Allah only when it is easy. Anyone can obey when things match their desires. Real faith appears when obedience becomes difficult. Submission means you trust Allah even when your emotions disagree. Submission means you obey Allah even when society mocks you. Submission means you leave something you love because you know Allah loves something better for you. And this is where many people struggle today. They want Islam without sacrifice. They want paradise without discipline. They want peace without obedience. They want Allah's mercy while openly living in disobedience. It does not work that way. Look at the world today. People are chasing happiness everywhere. Entertainment, money, attention, status, relationships, social media approval. Yet anxiety, depression, emptiness, and loneliness continue increasing. Why? Because the soul was created to connect with Allah, not to worship desires. A person may have money and still feel empty. A person may have followers and still feel lost. A person may smile publicly while suffering privately. Real peace comes from surrendering to the one who created you. And wallahi, every command of Allah is for your benefit, not His. Allah does not need your prayer. You need the prayer. Allah does not need your obedience. You need the obedience. Allah does not gain from your worship. your own soul gains from it. That is why submission brings peace. Because when you stop fighting Allah's guidance, your heart finally finds stability. Many people think freedom means doing whatever you want. But look closely at society. People who follow every desire often become slaves to those desires. Some are slaves to money. Some are slaves to lust. Some are slaves to attention. Some are slaves to pride. Some are slaves to social media approval. Islam came to free you from slavery to creation and connect you directly to the Creator. Eid al-Adha reminds us of this powerful truth. The real question is not whether you slaughtered an animal. The real question is, what are you willing to sacrifice for Allah? Can you sacrifice your arrogance? Can you sacrifice a sinful habit? Can you sacrifice toxic friendships pulling you away from Allah? Can you sacrifice your ego when you know you are wrong? Can you sacrifice your excuses and finally become serious about your faith? Because that is where real transformation begins. My brothers and sisters, many people celebrate Eid outwardly, but internally they are far from Allah. They wear beautiful clothes while their hearts are spiritually damaged. They smile in gatherings, but secretly carry anger, jealousy, pride, and sins they refuse to leave. Eid is not just a celebration of sacrifice. It is a reminder of complete surrender to Allah. And the beautiful thing is this: every sacrifice you make for Allah is replaced with something better. When you leave sin, Allah gives peace. When you leave arrogance, Allah gives honor. When you leave haram, Allah gives barakah. When you leave something for His sake, Allah never abandons you. Sometimes the thing standing between you and peace is the very sin you refuse to let go of. So this Eid, do not just celebrate externally. Ask yourself honestly, have I truly submitted to Allah, or am I only obeying Him when it suits my lifestyle? Because Islam is not built on convenience. It is built on trust, obedience, sincerity, and submission. And the more sincerely you surrender to Allah, the lighter your heart becomes. 2. The sacrifice is not about blood. It is about taqwa, my brothers and sisters. One of the biggest misunderstandings about Eid al-Adha is that people think the entire purpose is the animal itself. They focus on the size, the price, the breed, the appearance. But Allah already made the reality very clear. Neither the meat nor the blood reaches Him. What reaches Him is your sincerity, your consciousness of Allah, your intention, and the condition of your heart. Think deeply about this. Allah is the creator of every animal already. Allah owns everything in existence already. Your sacrifice is not benefiting Allah. It is meant to transform you. The Qurbani is supposed to teach you obedience, humility, gratitude, generosity, and sincerity. But today, for many people, it has become a social competition. People compare animals, people compare prices, people compare how many shares they bought, people compare who spent more money. And sometimes the entire act of worship becomes about impressing people instead of pleasing Allah. This is dangerous, because when worship becomes performance, sincerity starts dying. Some people spend more time taking photos and videos of the animal than remembering Allah. Some people proudly display everything online just to receive praise and attention. Look how expensive my Qurbani is. Look how big our animal is. Look what we bought. But ask yourself honestly, if nobody saw your sacrifice except Allah, would you still do it with the same excitement? That question exposes sincerity. My brothers and sisters, Allah does not judge you the way people judge you. Human beings look at appearances. Allah looks at hearts. 2 people may perform the exact same Qurbani outwardly, but one may be accepted while the other gains nothing except tiredness and wasted money. Why? Because one heart was sincere and the other heart wanted attention. And this problem does not only exist during Eid. It has entered almost every part of life. People pray to be seen. People give charity to be praised. People post good deeds for validation. People want recognition more than reward from Allah. Social media has made sincerity harder than ever before. Now even acts of worship are sometimes turned into content. Not everything needs to be shown. Not every good deed needs an audience. Some of the greatest deeds are the ones nobody knows about except Allah. The believer understands something powerful. The hidden deeds often carry more weight because they are protected from showing off. My brothers and sisters, the purpose of sacrifice is not to feed your ego. It is supposed to weaken your ego. It is supposed to remind you that this dunya is temporary. Today you own wealth. Tomorrow you may lose it. Today you are healthy. Tomorrow you may become weak. Today people praise you. Tomorrow they may forget you completely. So why become arrogant? The Qurbani teaches detachment from worldly obsession. It teaches you not to worship money. Because many people say they love Allah, but when money is involved, their true priorities become exposed. They spend thousands on luxury and status without hesitation, but become stingy when helping the poor or supporting something good. This is why generosity is such an important part of Eidul Adha. You are reminded to share, to feed others, to care for people struggling financially, to remember that your blessings are a trust from Allah. And wallahi, one sincere act of charity done quietly for Allah can outweigh years of public praise. Never underestimate sincerity. A small deed done sincerely can become enormous in the sight of Allah. And a huge deed done for attention can become worthless. This is why protecting your heart matters so much. Because outwardly religious actions can sometimes hide inward diseases. A person may look practicing outwardly, but internally be filled with pride, jealousy, arrogance, greed, and the need for validation. That is why self-reflection is necessary during Eid. Ask yourself honestly, why am I doing this? Is this really for Allah? Or is this for status, praise, culture, or appearance? These questions matter. And let us be honest about another problem. Some people become extremely emotional about the animal itself, but show no concern for their own spiritual condition. They carefully prepare every detail of the Qurbani while neglecting prayer completely. They spend heavily on Eid, but ignore their relationship with Allah throughout the year. What is the point of sacrificing an animal while your own heart remains untouched? The real purpose is transformation. The real purpose is taqwa. Taqwa means being conscious that Allah sees you at all times. It means you stop yourself from sin even when nobody else is watching. It means you choose honesty even when lying would benefit you. It means you fear disappointing Allah more than you fear disappointing people. That is true spirituality. And this is what Eidul Adha is trying to build inside you. Not just rituals, not just traditions, not just celebrations, but a heart that sincerely submits to Allah. My brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, the meat will be eaten. The celebrations will end. The gatherings will finish. But what remains with Allah is the sincerity in your heart. And that is what truly matters most. 3. What you should do on Eid. My brothers and sisters, Eid is a beautiful gift from Allah. Islam is not a religion of sadness and misery. Allah allowed celebration, happiness, family gatherings, good food and joy. But Islam teaches balance. Even our happiness must have purpose and dignity. So the question is not whether you should enjoy Eid. The real question is, how should a believer celebrate Eid correctly? And sadly, many Muslims today know more about Eid outfits and food menus than they know about the sunnah and spirit of Eid itself. The day of Eid should begin with remembrance of Allah, not distraction from Allah. Wake up early. Do not sleep through the morning because you stayed awake the entire night wasting time. Begin the day with gratitude and discipline. Pray Fajr, properly. Think about how strange it is that some people become excited for Eid prayer but neglect Fajr completely. The same Allah who commanded the Eid prayer also commanded the daily prayers. If a person celebrates Eid while ignoring Salah, then something is spiritually wrong. After Fajr, remember Allah often. Increase in takbir. Fill your tongue with remembrance instead of useless conversation. One of the most beautiful things about Eid is gratitude. Not everyone lived long enough to witness another Eid. Some people who celebrated last year are now under the ground. Some who laughed with their families are no longer here. Some were healthy last Eid and are now struggling with illness. So when you wake up on Eid morning, do not wake up with arrogance. Wake up with gratitude. Thank Allah for life. Thank Allah for family. Thank Allah for guidance. Thank Allah for every blessing you usually ignore. And my brothers and sisters, wear clean and good clothes, but do not let clothing become your identity. Today, many people judge others completely based on appearance. Expensive clothes, brands, jewelry and fashion have become obsessions. But Allah does not measure your worth by your outfit. A person can wear simple clothes and be beloved to Allah. And another person may look impressive outwardly while spiritually empty inside. So dress nicely, yes, but stay humble. Do not turn Eid into a fashion competition. And one of the greatest acts during Eid is maintaining family ties. Visit your parents. Sit with them properly. Talk to your relatives. Call those you have ignored. Sometimes people live in the same house but are emotionally disconnected from each other. Everyone is staring at phones while real relationships slowly die. Each should reconnect hearts. And if there are broken relationships in your family, this is the perfect time to fix them. Some people have not spoken to relatives for years over money, pride, inheritance, arguments, or ego. Ask yourself, how long will you carry this bitterness? Life is short. Death does not wait for reconciliation. Many people regret after someone dies, I wish I had apologized, I wish I had forgiven them, I wish I had spoken kindly, but by then it is too late. Do not let your ego destroy relationships. And my brothers and sisters, remember the poor on Eid. This is extremely important. There are families who watch others celebrate while they struggle to afford basic food. There are children who cannot experience Eid the way others do. A believer does not become blind to the suffering of others. Feed people, share meat generously, give charity quietly, help someone without humiliating them. And do not only help your close circle. Sometimes the people suffering most are the ones nobody notices. One of the most beautiful things in Islam is that even during celebration, you are taught compassion. And another thing believers should do on Eid is guard their character. Speak gently. Avoid arguments. Avoid gossip. Avoid mocking others. Sadly, some families gather only to backbite relatives, criticize appearances, compare lifestyles, and create drama. What kind of Eid is this? If your tongue causes harm, then your celebration is missing spirituality. The Prophet taught kindness, mercy, patience, and good character. A real believer makes people feel safe around them. And my brothers and sisters, use Eid as a chance to reconnect with Allah personally. Many people are surrounded by crowds, yet internally feel empty. Why? Because the heart needs connection with Allah more than entertainment. Take a few moments alone. Make sincere dua. Ask Allah for forgiveness. Ask Allah to guide your children. Ask Allah to soften your heart. Ask Allah to remove bad habits from your life. Do not underestimate sincere dua on blessed days. And another important thing, do not waste the entire Eid glued to your phone. Today, people barely experience moments anymore. Everything becomes content, recording, posting, showing, scrolling. Families gather physically while mentally everyone is somewhere else online. Put the phone down sometimes. Be present. Look at the people around you. Speak sincerely, because one day these moments will become memories. My brothers and sisters, Eid is not just about enjoyment. It is about gratitude, remembrance, family, generosity, humility, and sincerity. A believer celebrates differently, not with arrogance, not with heedlessness, not with showing off, but with a heart connected to Allah. And wallahi, when Allah is present in your celebration, the joy feels different. It becomes peaceful instead of empty. That is the beauty of a meaningful Eid. 4. What you should not do on Eid. My brothers and sisters, Eid is a day of joy, but it is also a test. Many people fail this test without even realizing it, because they think anything done on Eid is automatically acceptable. That is not true at all. Just because it is a day of celebration does not mean the boundaries of Allah are removed. Islam never gives a license for sin. It only gives permission for lawful joy. And there is a huge difference between the two. One of the biggest mistakes people make on Eid is turning it into a day of carelessness, where religious limits are ignored. Some people assume that since it is Eid, everything is forgiven in advance, so they allow themselves to slip into habits that are normally wrong, thinking it is harmless for just one day. But my brothers and sisters, sin does not become acceptable because of a date on the calendar. The same Allah who is being worshipped on Eid is the same Allah who is being disobeyed when limits are crossed. You should not turn Eid into a day where prayer becomes secondary. There are people who become extremely busy with food, gatherings, visits and entertainment, but they neglect their obligatory prayers. This is not a small issue. If a person abandons their connection with Allah while celebrating Eid, then what exactly are they celebrating? Eid is meant to strengthen your bond with Allah, not weaken it. A day that was meant for gratitude should not become a day of neglect. Another major problem is wasting wealth unnecessarily. Some people spend beyond their means just to appear impressive in front of others. They buy expensive clothes, prepare excessive food, decorate homes lavishly, and sometimes even go into debt just to maintain an image. This is not what Eid teaches. Islam encourages beauty and cleanliness, but it strictly discourages waste and arrogance. Spending money to impress people who do not care about your situation is one of the biggest traps of pride and social pressure. Many people forget that wealth is a trust from Allah. It is not something you were given to show superiority over others. It is something you are responsible for. When you waste it, you are being ungrateful. And when you use it only for showing off, you are damaging your own spiritual reward. The problem today is that people are more concerned about how their Eid looks to others than how it looks in the sight of Allah. Another thing you should not do on Eid is engage in sinful entertainment. Some people turn Eid nights into gatherings filled with music, inappropriate content, free mixing, and things that distance the heart from Allah. They say it is just for enjoyment, but enjoyment that leads you away from Allah is not real enjoyment. It is temporary excitement that leaves behind emptiness. A believer should be careful about what enters their heart and mind even during celebrations. Joy that is mixed with disobedience is not a blessing. It is a test in disguise. You should also avoid pride and arrogance during Eid. Some people begin to feel superior because of their clothes, their food, their sacrifices, or their social status. They look down on others who may not have as much. This is extremely dangerous. Arrogance destroys good deeds faster than anything else. No matter how much you give, how much you sacrifice, or how much you worship, if pride enters your heart, the value of those actions is at risk. Another serious mistake is humiliating or exposing the poor while giving charity or distributing meat. Some people record videos of needy individuals and share them online just to gain likes or attention. This is not charity with sincerity. This is charity mixed with self-promotion. When you help someone, their dignity must be protected. The goal is to make them feel respected, not displayed. Islam teaches generosity with humility, not generosity with publicity. You should also not break family ties during Eid. Sadly, for some people, Eid becomes a time of silent bitterness. Instead of reconciliation, there is avoidance. Instead of forgiveness, there is ego. Instead of connection, there is distance. This is completely against the spirit of Eid. If a person cannot forgive even on a day of mercy and celebration, then when will they forgive? Holding grudges only harms your own heart. The people you are angry with may not even think about it, but you carry that burden every day. Another thing to avoid is excessive distraction. Today, many people spend Eid completely lost in their phones, scrolling, posting, comparing and consuming endless content while ignoring the real blessings around them. They are physically present with family but mentally absent. Moments of real connection are replaced by digital noise. Eid passes, but they never actually experience it. This creates a strange emptiness even in moments that are supposed to be joyful. You should also avoid gossip and criticism during gatherings. It is very common for people to sit together and start talking about others, judging appearances, discussing family issues, or mocking lifestyles. This destroys the purity of Eid gatherings. A believer's tongue should bring peace, not harm. If a gathering is filled with backbiting, then even the joy of the occasion becomes corrupted. My brothers and sisters, Eid is not just about what you do, it is also about what you avoid. Sometimes your biggest reward is not in the actions you perform, but in the sins you successfully stay away from. True celebration is not losing control. True celebration is maintaining discipline even in moments of happiness. Because the believer is consistent in every situation, not only in hardship, but also in joy. So be careful on this day. Enjoy what is lawful. Be happy in what is pure, but never cross the limits set by Allah thinking that the day excuses it. Because at the end of everything, Eid will pass, the gatherings will end, the food will finish, but what remains is your record with Allah. And that is what truly matters. 5. The real sacrifice is your ego. My brothers and sisters, when people hear the word sacrifice, they immediately think of the animal. They think of slaughter, meat, distribution, and rituals. But if that is all you understand, then you have only understood the surface and missed the depth entirely. The real sacrifice Allah wants from you is not the animal. The real sacrifice is what lives inside you every single day. It is your ego, your arrogance, your pride, your anger, your desires, and your attachments that pull you away from obedience. Let me be very clear with you. Slaughtering an animal is easy compared to controlling yourself. Anyone with money can participate in Qurbani, but not everyone can control their anger when insulted. Not everyone can admit they were wrong. Not everyone can forgive someone who hurt them deeply. Not everyone can lower their ego when they feel disrespected. That is the real struggle. My brothers and sisters, the biggest enemy you will ever face is not outside of you. It is inside of you. It is your own self that constantly pushes you toward what is easy, what is comfortable, and what satisfies desire in the moment, even if it leads to harm later. Eid al-Adha is not just about remembering Ibrahim. It is about reflecting on your own willingness to obey Allah when it costs you something personal. Ask yourself a serious question. What do I refuse to let go of, even if Allah is asking me to? For some people, it is pride. They cannot accept correction. They cannot apologize. They cannot admit fault. They feel that lowering themselves makes them weak. But in reality, arrogance is what destroys them, not humility. For some people, it is anger. They hold grudges for years. They replay past arguments in their mind. They refuse to forgive even when the other person has moved on. They carry emotional weight that is slowly poisoning their heart. For some people, it is habits that are secretly damaging their connection with Allah. They know it is wrong, they feel guilty, they promise to change, but they keep returning to it again and again. And slowly their heart becomes numb. For some people, it is attachment to opinions of others. They live their life trying to impress people who do not even care about them. They change their behavior based on who is watching. They are more afraid of human judgment than Allah's judgment. This is where the real sacrifice is needed. Because Allah does not only want your actions, Allah wants your transformation. You can perform rituals perfectly, but if your character remains unchanged, then you have missed the purpose. The Prophet taught that true strength is not physical power. True strength is controlling yourself when you are angry. Think about that carefully. The strongest person is not the one who defeats others, but the one who defeats his own ego. My brothers and sisters, ego is very dangerous because it hides itself. It does not always appear as arrogance. Sometimes it appears as I am right. Sometimes it appears as I deserve better. Sometimes it appears as I will never forgive. Sometimes it appears as silence and stubbornness. But at the core, it is always the same thing, the refusal to submit. And this is exactly what Eid al-Adha challenges. Because Ibrahim was asked to let go of something deeply beloved, and he was willing to do it purely for Allah. That level of submission is not emotional. It is spiritual maturity. It is complete trust that Allah's command is always better than personal desire. Now compare that with modern life. People refuse to leave sins even when they know they are harming themselves. People refuse to fix relationships even when they know it is breaking families. People refuse to change habits even when they know it is destroying their peace. Why? Because the ego says, I am not ready, or I don't want to, or it is too hard. And so they remain stuck. My brothers and sisters, the moment you start defeating your ego, your life begins to change. Not instantly in external wealth or status, but internally in peace, clarity, and connection with Allah. Because ego creates noise inside the heart. It creates confusion, stress, comparison, jealousy, and constant dissatisfaction. But when ego weakens, the heart becomes calm. You stop reacting to everything. You stop needing validation. You stop carrying unnecessary emotional weight. And you start living with purpose instead of reaction. This is why many people have everything materially but feel empty, because their ego is constantly demanding more, never satisfied, never at peace. True peace comes when you say to your ego, you will not control me anymore. I will obey Allah even if you dislike it. That is real sacrifice. Not just slaughtering something outside you, but cleansing something inside you. So this Eid, do not only think about what you are giving outwardly. Think deeply about what you are willing to remove from within. Because Allah does not need your animal. Allah wants your heart. And the person who wins against his ego has already won the greatest victory of all. 6. Remember those who cannot celebrate. My brothers and sisters, Eid al-Adha is not only about personal joy. It is also a reminder of responsibility. A believer does not live in isolation, thinking only about his own home, his own table, his own comfort. Islam builds a heart that feels the pain of others. And if your Eid is only about celebration while you remain completely unaware of those who are struggling, then something is missing in your understanding of this day. Look at the world carefully. While many families are preparing meals, wearing new clothes, and gathering with loved ones, there are countless people who cannot experience Eid in the same way. There are families who do not know where their next meal will come from. There are parents who sit quietly because they cannot afford to give their children the happiness they see in others. There are orphans who watch celebrations from a distance, feeling the absence of those who once made their world complete. This is not something to ignore. This is something to feel. Because one of the signs of a soft and sincere heart is that it does not become blind to the suffering of others. My brothers and sisters, Islam repeatedly teaches compassion, not just in words, but in action. The believer is not someone who only thinks about himself. The believer is someone who understands that whatever he has is not only for him, but also a trust from Allah that should benefit others. When Allah gives you more than you need, it is not only a blessing, it is also a test. The test is not just whether you say thank you with your tongue, but whether you use that blessing to help others, or whether you become selfish with it. Eid al-Adha specifically brings this lesson to life. You are already sacrificing an animal in remembrance of obedience and submission. But beyond that act, there is a deeper responsibility. The distribution of meat itself becomes a symbol of sharing, caring, and including others in your happiness. A believer should never be comfortable knowing that people around them are hungry. Even if you cannot solve every problem in the world, you can still do something in your own capacity. You can feed someone. You can support a struggling family. You can give quietly without expecting recognition. You can help in a way that preserves dignity rather than exposing someone's hardship. Because sometimes the way help is given matters just as much as the help itself. And my brothers and sisters, one of the most dangerous diseases of the heart is indifference. When a person becomes so focused on their own life that they stop noticing others, their heart slowly becomes hard. At first, they ignore small things. Then they become comfortable ignoring bigger suffering. Eventually, they lose sensitivity altogether. Islam does not want a hard heart. Islam wants a heart that feels, cares, and responds. The Prophet taught that the believers are like one body. If one part of the body is in pain, the rest of the body feels it. This is not just a poetic idea. It is a spiritual reality that every believer should strive to live by. When others suffer, you should feel some level of concern, not to the point of despair, but enough to care and act where you can. Eid is a perfect opportunity to express this care. When you distribute food, do not think of it as just a tradition. Think of it as sharing joy. When you give to someone in need, do not think of it as reducing your wealth. Think of it as investing in your hereafter. Because what you give sincerely for Allah does not decrease you. It elevates you. There are people whose entire Eid happiness depends on the kindness of strangers. A small act from you can become a major source of relief for someone else. Something you consider ordinary may be extraordinary for someone else. That is why Islam places so much emphasis on generosity. But generosity is not only about money. It is also about attention, kindness, respect, and dignity. Sometimes a kind word is more valuable than food. Sometimes treating someone with respect restores their sense of worth more than any material help. Do not underestimate small acts of goodness. And at the same time, do not turn helping others into a performance. The goal is not to show people that you helped. The goal is to help in a way that pleases Allah alone. Many deeds lose their reward because they are mixed with the desire for recognition. So the believer walks a careful path. He helps others generously, but he protects his sincerity carefully. My brothers and sisters, Eid should expand your heart, not shrink it. It should make you more aware of others, not less. It should make you more grateful, not more entitled. It should make you more generous, not more selfish. Because at the end of the day, what you truly own is not what you keep, but what you give for the sake of Allah. And those who remember the needy on a day of celebration are among those whose hearts remain alive in the sight of Allah. 7. What matters most after Eid? My brothers and sisters, the most important part of Eid al-Adha is not the day itself. It is what happens after the day ends. Because many people get emotionally inspired during Eid. They feel close to Allah, they feel motivated, they feel spiritual. But then very quickly, life returns to normal. And so does their old behavior. And this is where the real test begins. Because true success is not how high your emotions rise during a special day. True success is whether those emotions turn into lasting change in your life. Let me explain this clearly. Some people experience Eid beautifully. They pray, they smile, they feel grateful, they enjoy family time, they remember Allah more than usual, and their heart becomes soft. But after a few days, they go back to the same habits they were doing before Eid. The same neglect of prayer, the same sins, the same distractions, the same lifestyle choices that keep them distant from Allah. So what changed? Nothing except a temporary emotional moment. And that is not what Islam wants from you. Islam does not want seasonal worship. Islam wants consistent worship. My brothers and sisters, Allah is not only the Lord of Eid. Allah is the Lord of every single day of your life. So the connection you feel on Eid is meant to be carried forward, not left behind like a memory. One of the biggest dangers for a believer is inconsistency, because inconsistency creates spiritual confusion. A person becomes religious on certain days, then distant on others, and slowly their heart becomes unstable. They no longer feel grounded. They no longer feel disciplined. They live between inspiration and neglect. But the strongest believers are those who are steady, not perfect, but steady. They may struggle, but they keep returning. They may fall, but they keep standing up again. They may make mistakes, but they do not abandon the path completely. That is what matters most. So after Eid, the real question is not what you ate, what you wore, or who you met. The real question is what changed inside you that will continue beyond Eid. Did your relationship with Allah improve even slightly? Did you become more careful with your prayers? Did you reduce even one bad habit? Did you soften your heart toward people? Did you become more aware of your actions? Because even small changes matter when they are sincere and consistent. My brothers and sisters, sometimes people underestimate small improvements. They think unless everything changes, nothing counts. But in reality, every small step toward Allah is valuable. Even if it feels minor, it can become the beginning of something life-changing.